It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go, here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Run it with your friends, come on.
Come on, come on.
It's a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still troubled in your home. Got your tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we speak that truth. Sometimes you down yourself, lost your health.
Faith is on the fence
You can see
now,
that
and he
Jesus knows
knows
your
you
well.
well.
Keep it moving, spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday, 8 and 9, and it's on. Well, once again, it's on. You're listening to what? The only morning show at night. It's the Sinclair Show coming to you live and direct from everywhere. We on social media, TV, radio, in your cell phones, everywhere. And we ain't nothing but thankful. That's right. You got to be thankful because you all could be anywhere else tonight, but you right here with me. And so that's why you all are the valued listeners, because without you, there'd be no reason for the Sinclair Show to be on and popping every week. But look here, people. I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, if you will, to the Sinclair Talk at Outlook.com. I'm going to continue to address as many as possible each night that I'm on the air, reaching you all because y'all are that what? Valued listener. That's right. That's right. So we got a lot of stuff that we're going to be chit-chatting about tonight, talking about. Some of them y'all going to be upset about. Some of them you probably ain't. But regardless of what goes on, we're going to make it happen tonight because that's how we get down. Whew, I'm a little tired tonight too. You know, man, y'all ever had people tell y'all, hey, you look tired? I don't even think that's a compliment. Now, if you're a hard worker, it might be. But when somebody tell you you look tired, you might need to get some rest because you look tired. I don't know if that's all that good. But anyway, we're going to ponder on that anyway. We're gonna throw in a couple of concepts and ideas as we go through. But we got a litany of things to talk about tonight. Let me see who was the first person hot off the press. Tonight, y'all guess who it was? First person dialing in was Jay Dizzle. What's up, Johnny? Making it happen. Then we had Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard from Rocket City, Alabama. See, that's what I like about Lady Elegance. She ain't scared to tell y'all where she from. Some of y'all be up in that. You be in your emotional feelings. And you don't want nobody to know that you from little bit of nowhere, America. See, that's not like me. See, I let y'all know I'm from Jackson, not Jacksonville, Jackson. Jackson like a little small piece, like a scrunchy little piece in the corner of North Carolina. But you know what? That's where I'm from. So if I'm from there, it must be a place of significance. And you should feel the same way about that little bitty spot in America that you from. But y'all don't be that way. Y'all be trying to tell people y'all from the big cities. There's Nikki Carter. Hello, Nikki Carter. Hopefully we'll be on the same page tonight. Y'all notice that I have not called her the arch nemesis none this year because I got a newfound respect for Nikki Carter. I believe Nikki Carter just simply brings an alternative perspective. I still think she part of the Me Too movement. So, you know, fellas, we got to keep these eyes on her, but we're going to let her shine for the other side of the tracks, if you will. Let me see who else talking about something. Dang, Johnny, how many times you gonna say hello? You trying to get all the airplay? They go, my mama. Hey, mama. What's going on? Let me see who else is out there. Nikki Carter talking about good evening. Stephanie Tillman, glad to see you. Let me see who else is out here. Big Rod, what's going on with the big homie? See, I get a little bit excited when I start seeing the fellows drop in. Because that means we're gonna get that testosterone, that male mindset and review. Because sometimes I be talking about stuff, and ladies, y'all are very supportive, but some of y'all a little bit shady when it comes to some things that you don't necessarily believe in. So we're going to let y'all rock with that. Let me see who else is up here. Detective Pamela Black, glad to see you. Annie Moore, what's going on, Annie Moore? Glad to see you. Uh-oh, I see somebody trying to offer some promotional stuff. Oh, they definitely getting ready to get blocked. Let me see, how can I block them? I'm at the, who else is that? That's Nikki Carter. She's talking about, Nikki Carter, why is you talking about fishing holes in Jacksonville? First of all, the club don't meet in Jacksonville. Second of all, you're not going to ever be part of the fishing club. I've already told you that. So let that ride. Selena Harrell, glad to see you. Cassandra Key, what's up with the legal beagle? You finally converted. You ain't converted nobody. I just don't feel like arguing with you. So let that sizzle in your spirit. Anyway. So, hold on. Animal, you saying I do look tired? Hold on. Hey, Johnny, Big Rod. Is that a sign that you a hard worker, or is that that don't feel like no compliment when somebody say you look tired? I don't know. Where's my shades at? I done came up here with no shades on tonight. Maybe y'all done got it twisted, mixed up or something. Let me get me something. I ain't got nothing to put on. Maybe I need to put on a hat or something. Y'all think if I put on a hat, I won't look as sleepy? I'm feeling some kind of way. But I ain't got no shades up here. Maybe I need to get me a drink of water. I bet some of y'all look tired too. Matter of fact, people, let me tell y'all something. Uh-oh. James Key is up in the house. Johnny said that's the hard-working look. See, that's why I be waiting on the fellas, because, see, they have an alternative perspective from y'all. Let me see what Nikki Carter say. They can't help you. Yes, they can, and they have. Let me see what James talking about. You haven't given up yet. Absolutely. And see, I think that's part of the difference. Now look at the difference in the let me see. Big Rod said, man, tell them to turn the cameras on them. See, that's why I be needing the fellas to come through and represent. See, ladies, y'all be up there with it. You do look tired. That's a snub, if you will. But see, men view this look differently. They say this the look of a man that gets up every morning at 4 o'clock and is on that highway by 5 going to serve the people. That's how men see it. Now, y'all, on the other hand, y'all see it as just somebody that got a few bags under their eyes. But maybe some of y'all still asleep. See, if you get 3 or 4 extra hours of sleep, you can't really complain about nobody looking tired because you had more time to rest, if you will. That's all right. And for all y'all to be in my business, yeah, this water I'm drinking. What you think I'm drinking? Y'all something else, boy. Let me see. Nigga said James Key giving up is for losers. Whatever. All right, so anyway, people. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I appreciate all of y'all, whether you down with the cause or just come here to antagonize. All of y'all are welcome to come to the show anytime you want. Now, some people have been asking me, am I going to be doing shows in your area? The answer to that is not right now. James said, hey, seeing Sean last night, 20 points, 3 assists, 1 block, 2 steal, and 5 threes. Oh, Sean trying to get to the NBA association with them kind of numbers. Tell him to keep up the good work. Johnny said, Franklin, that shine. Absolutely. Yeah, no, ain't no drinking around here. I'm drinking. All right, yeah. We getting ready to go. All right, but everybody send Sean out a high five. Young man doing good in school and doing good on the court. Again, last night he hit him up for 20 points, 3 assists, 1 block, 2 steal, 5 threes. That's doing it big. But look, tonight, oh man, tonight we got all kind of little things to talk about. first and foremost, y'all want to go. Matter of fact, I don't even think it's no light end of the pool. I think it's all deep end of the pool type stuff tonight. But what shall you all, the public, say y'all want to deal with? Y'all want to deal with something nice, or matter of fact, I ain't even gonna let it be up to y'all. We're going to start off with a little bit of Florida controversy. All right. Here's the first thing hot off the press. A 70-year-old black woman alleges she was accused of having a gun, arrested, left inside of a hot patrol car, and jailed after she confronted a Florida credit union about money missing from her account. Says retired teacher Linda Stevens was a customer of the Mid-Florida Credit Union for the past 50 years. 50 years now, people. And it says she deposited $600 in the ATM in Bartow, Florida on April 13th. Stevens needed the money to pay her mortgage. According to the lawsuit obtained by Atlanta Black Star, she received a receipt. Like if you ever put some money in the ATM, they give you a little receipt for it, all right? They say she received a receipt, returned home, but when noticed that the funds weren't there reflected in the balance the next morning, she went back to the branch for assistance. However, the woman and her attorney alleges that she was met with hostility and disdain because of her race, they said. The lawsuit filed on February 3rd accused Mid-Florida of blatant discrimination and flagrant indifference. All right? Now, want me to tell y'all who her attorney is? This woman about to get paid. This lady's attorney is Benjamin Crump. Now, you know when Crump get involved, hey, somebody gonna pay something at some point. But it says they discriminated against her, neglected, and caused emotional distress to Stevens when they called the police on her after she expressed concerns about a deposit for her mortgage not appearing in her account due to an error on the bank's end, said attorney Benjamin Crump. A credit union employee told the retiree that he did not see her depart the deposit and said the ATM was being worked on due to mechanical issues by a technician. The teller told Stevens to return in several hours and fill out a dispute form to resolve the discrepancy with her account. Stevens did as she was instructed to return to Mid-Florida branch, where she was told by another employee that the deposit has still not been posted. The employee accepted the dispute form and reassured her the funds would appear in her account within 2 to 3 hours. After waiting the rest of the day, now y'all know it don't matter what age you are. We in the Negro, minority, black, whatever you want to call it, African-American community, we don't play about the money that we done worked hard for. You think I get this tired look from not being out here working? Grandma wasn't playing about her bread. So it said the next morning, Stevens went back to the bank on April the 14th after the funds didn't show up in her account. When she arrived, the teller told Stevens they were unable to help her or to tell her the status of her deposit. And she was shown to an office. In the office, Stevens explained to another employee what had transpired previously, the lawsuit alleges. The employee called the ATM maintenance technician who had serviced the machine. The technician confirmed now that he had found the missing $600. Stevens was distraught by then and vocally showed her concern about the $600. Remember, she put the $600 in the ATM because she needed to be able to pay her mortgage. Now they acting funny about her mortgage. Grandma don't play that because you know these more seasoned ladies, unlike some of you younger ones, they don't play about their bills being paid on time. Some of y'all young ones, depending on what you want to shop for, you might pay a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow. Grandma don't play like that. She like her bills paid on time. So this is what they did. The branch manager came into the office and demanded that Stevens calm down as she pleaded with the employees for access to her funds. Instead, the branch manager called the police. A police officer arrived on the scene and stood behind Stevens before another officer arrived with his hands on his firearm, stating, "Somebody call 911," and claimed Stevens had a gun. So the old lady, wise old lady, puts her money in the bank. All she wants is her money so she can pay her mortgage. She done been back 2 separate days, 5 separate times, and they call the police on her. The police roll up and say, "Oh, grandma got a pistol." According to the lawsuit, Stevens was afraid for her life by this time and told the police officers all she wanted was her ATM deposit. She also told them she didn't have a gun, but the officer placed her in handcuffs, left her inside his vehicle in 90-degree heat for about 20 minutes. Once they transported her to the police station, she was dragged out the car by the police and thrown down on the ground, placed in a holding cell. She was later handcuffed, dragged across the floor by 4 male police officers, thrown face first into the police vehicle, transported then to the sheriff department, where her nose was broken in the process. At the sheriff's department, Stevens was stripped nude before being transported to jail annex, where she spent 24 hours completely naked on a cement floor of a jail cell before being released, the lawsuit alleges. She's been charged with disorderly conduct, a charge prosecutors subsequently dropped. According to Stevens' claim, on April the 16th, Mid-Florida Regional Manager contacted Stevens to apologize. She met Stevens at her home and apologized while noting the bank's mistake and subsequent trauma suffered by Stevens. The manager also gave Stevens a voucher for her mortgage payment for $300, not the $600. "I was just traumatized," said Stevens. "I was humiliated. I was dehumanized, all because I wanted my money." Stevens has since been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and is undergoing psychiatric therapy due to emotional trauma. The lawsuit states, by denying her service and calling the police on her, Mid-Florida International deprived Ms. Stevens of the same rights that are enjoyed by white citizens to the full and equal enjoyment of goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages, etc., etc. First of all, let me say something to y'all. Woo-wee. Now, we're going to start with the basic fundamentals. And I'm going to say this to my Anglo-Saxon brothers and sisters. I know all of you all are not racist. All of you all don't discriminate. Some of you all who would hear this thing tonight are feeling the same level of ratchet anger that I do. But the other side of that is, stop acting like you don't understand why we become enraged when these things occur, because day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, you don't have to be a racist to be prejudiced. You don't have to be a racist to discriminate. You don't have to be a racist to be ignorant. Now, let's paint this picture in the remix fashion. If my mama calls me and tells me she put $600 in an ATM and the folks at the bank been giving her runaround, and she's got to go down there to the bank, I'm going to go with her. Let me start by saying that. Now, we don't know in this case that Miss Stevens had any loved ones or anything, but we're going to cover all the bases tonight. If she did, this is part of the reason why some of you out there need to be checking on your parents. The second part of this is, and this goes to the business public, Stop sitting around here acting like every time a black person, an African American, a Negro, a nigger, whatever you want to call us, comes into your establishment to do business, and we don't agree with the results that you all are providing to us, that makes us combative. If you got $6 of my money and I want it back, you give me my money. See, I often say communication is the failure of America in every society. And the issue here is Miss Linda Stevens did everything she was asked to do by the employees. Remember, she went there, didn't see the money. They told her, hey, somebody working on the teller machine, it'll be fixed in a little bit. Come back in 2 to 3 hours. She came back in 2 to 3 hours. They said, oh, we ain't even seen your money, but they still might be some glitches. Give it until the morning. She comes back in the morning. Now they done flipped the script. They have even called the mechanic that worked on the ATM. He says, yes, I got the money. I got her bread. To which they still weren't able to put it in her account so she could pay her bills. Let's talk about the lapse in communication. Don't ask somebody to keep driving back and forth, spending $4 worth of a gallon of gas, coming to your establishment, and you telling them, keep coming back, let's check tomorrow. When you spoke the next day to the mechanic, first of all, Linda Stevens brought in the receipt from your ATM machine. There was no discrepancy as to whether or not she deposited the money. But I give the bank grace and mercy initially saying, let it register in our system. When it didn't happen the next day and you done saw this lady now 3 or 4 times and you spoke to your guy, not her guy. The individual working on the ATM machine was not in concert, coercion, or collusion with Linda Stevens. He worked for the bank. When he said, I've got the money, you know how much money is in your bank. You could have just typed in 600 in her account and it would have magically appeared because you knew the money existed. Somebody gonna say, well, it would have made somebody drawer short. You could explain why the drawer was short, and you could explain by documentation, hey, we gotta solve this. This is a customer service issue. But instead, outruns the manager. And I have no proof tonight whether or not the manager was of Anglo-Saxon or Caucasian. I don't have any proof of that. But whatever the demographic was, the manager came out and said, calm down. I said the first thing y'all want us to do. You want us to calm down when you have done something or treated us in a manner that is inconsistent with customer service. That's when you want us to calm down. You know how many times people in America have put money in their account, went to pay their bills, deposited the money in there with the expectation it would register. Next thing you know, some bills come through, they're having to pay extra because when the account was processed, the money wasn't there. You talking about calm down. And while there is no proof in this particular news orientation that the manager was white, I'm gonna tell you why I'm going to assume tonight that he was or she was. Because you called the police on a 70-year-old black woman that just wanted her money back. I can't imagine that a black, Latino, or Asian bank manager would have called the police on a 70-year-old woman whom you and your people already know that your establishment is wrong. That's why I get mad at y'all. Big Rod said, we always got to act dignified and respectful, but they're allowed to act any way they want, but we the problem. Absolutely. They did James Key, for real, that's crazy. Hey, I'm telling you all, Nikki Carter said, when did they realize they had, well, according to this, and that's a great question, Nikki Carter, they realized that it was an issue, in my opinion. This is my opinion. They realized that they were at fault the initial time when she walked in the bank because Miss Linda Stevens took her receipt. That's to me, the bank's liability began once she proved that she had deposited the money. Now, we give the bank grace and mercy because they knew someone was at that point working on the teller. So maybe the bank says, hey, I got to make sure this receipt, we can't validate it because of the machine being out of service. We can't reach it technically. So they asked her to come back. I believe that the moment then the second stage of fault became when they spoke to the mechanic of the technician, and he said, I both have the receipt and the $600. Once you know she was in the right, I believe, Nikki Carter, this answers your question, that certainly their liability began then. And much like I often say about the police department, where in the customer service code was an effort to diffuse Miss Stevens' situation. Instead, the manager calls the police. Now, I'm not certain, based on the way it reads, if the police assumed she had a gun or if the manager said she had a gun. It's a little gray area. Either way, Miss Linda Stevens notified the police, I just want my money and I don't have a gun. They put her in handcuffs, and white America, let me paint this image for you. I don't even have a problem with the police putting her in handcuffs to see if she had a gun. But if you assumed because the bank may have told you they believe she had a gun, the police department, I believe, became at fault in their actions because it's easy to determine if a person has a gun by putting them in cuffs and doing a search. You know how many times you all search black men right out there on the street? So before you drove her to the police station, before you put her in a 90-degree car, why didn't you say, ma'am, we can probably resolve this about the firearm allegation. Can we step into a room over here to the side with some privacy? If you don't mind us searching to make sure there is no weapon, then we can probably handle this right here on the spot. They didn't attempt to do that. Yet and still what you did was somehow you take her to one police station, you then transfer her to the sheriff's department in this time frame between when you first apprehended her, if you will. How in the Sam Blazing Hills did her nose get broke? You out there breaking 70-year-old women's noses? Tell me, this is where we have to, in our society, send a message that is so strong that police officers, that when they get ready to do something, they think about the consequence. Because for so many generations, there have been a lack of consequence. meaningful consequence. If all you're going to do is get suspended for a week and you back on the job, that ain't nothing. But if you got to go to jail, or if you got to get sued, if you got to be a part of the lawsuit, if you got to lose your revenue stream, then I think you think about how you deal with a person of color or anybody. Because the truth of the matter is, white folks get treated shady too. It just never makes the news. Nikki Carter said they thought she was lying. Of course they did. They always think that black folks is lying. Jay Dizzle says she has to be searched for they can put her in the car for transport. Absolutely. I would suspect that. Then it says she better sue the bank, the police department, and the city. April Brown, what's going on? Glad you to join us tonight. So let's move past this. She gets to the police department. Next thing you know, they transport her to the sheriff's department. How, and I'm asking this to all of my valued law enforcement colleagues, because I do have, and I often say this, it's not all law enforcement, because there are excellent officers out there. White, black, Latino, Asian. There are officers that put it on the line every day and do the right thing. So I want some of y'all to answer this question. What could this woman, this 70-year-old woman, have said or done that caused you to put her in a cell naked? They described her as being put in the cell nude. That means she didn't have on anything. What would cause you, if anybody's in law enforcement out there, what would cause you to put this woman in a cell overnight nude so she could sleep on the concrete? It says, at the sheriff's department, Stevens was stripped nude before being transported to the jail annex, where she spent 24 hours completely naked on the cement floor. How did you transport listen, either Benjamin Crump is lying, or I want to know Stevens was stripped nude before being transported to the jail annex, where she spent 24 hours completely naked on a cement floor of a jail cell before she was released. Somebody tell me, what part of police protocol is it that you strip someone nude and transport them? Meaning you walked her, you drove her or walked her to a different part of the facility naked, nude, where she spent the night naked, sleeping on the concrete. Somebody tell me where they do that at. I need to know what part of protocol is that. You done broke her nose. Remember, it said by the time she got to the sheriff area, her nose was broke. How you even break her nose? Now she got a broke nose. You stripped her naked. You transported her naked. You then made her sleep in a cell naked. What was the purpose of that? James said it's all about power and to belittle. I agree that there was probably some of the mindset of the individuals. I just want to know what part of this, first of all, how did you all even allow this to even be going to court? If there is any proof at all that this lady was put nude and transported nude, and it says she was transported by some men, when did they start letting men transport women naked? I don't know if Florida got enough money in the bank for this one. And I'm saying these things because I want you guys to understand, both in the black community and others, we have to do a better job of protecting each other. And this isn't a race thing. I'm pretty certain it was somebody else in that bank. It was another teller in the bank. It was another patron, another customer in the bank. It should have been a security guard in the bank. Somebody should have stood up for Linda Stevens in the bank and said, no, she's not acting that way. No, I've not seen her say or brandish a weapon. But we're so busy in America not wanting to get involved, but we'll be somewhere around with a camera flashing. I'm going to look to see if there's any video, because I'm sick and tired of folks shooting videos, but they ain't stepping in. James said they're all in cahoots. And let me say this, you shouldn't be so concerned about your job that you would allow an organization to dehumanize a person, to lie on them. You think for 1 minute, if I go into a bank, a store, and I see them doing something to a 70-year-old lady because all she trying to do is get her money, do you think I ain't gonna say nothing? You got me bent. But you can't be so afraid in America. We have conjured up this, I want to mind my own business. First of all, y'all some liars. Y'all don't mind your business. Y'all gossip about everything. Every single day is gossiping going on. You always in somebody else's business, but you don't want to get involved because you're scared of consequences. I'm about sick of some of y'all anyway. But listen. Anyway, we're going to keep track of this story. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Let me see. What is April talking about? Too many people don't care if they're not involved. Too much turning heads and turning out and tuning out. I thought she said turning out. Yet constantly recording. That's absolutely correct. I rides with that. That's a good logic right there. And I'm challenging you all, stop hiding in the moment. Stop vanishing. Stop becoming small when a good person needs you to become big. We was just talking about it last week when them 5 black officers beat that man to death and folks was driving by. Nobody wants to get involved. Some of y'all see police doing something and your first thing you think to yourself is, you know what? They must have done something to deserve it. Until it's your family. I had some dialogue today with one of my white colleagues. And I said to him, would you be surprised if you found out that white Americans are killed 3 times that of black Americans every year, but you never by police, but you never hear about it? He was shocked. I said, well, go on to the Department of Justice. See, there is no sensationalism in telling white folks that police is killing white folks. There's no sensationalism in showing white Americans being humiliated in public. Because if white America starts to feel like black America about these transgressions, then something's got to change. But it's poor white folks. It's everyday white folks. It's middle-class white folks that get treated somewhat like this too. I'm tired, people. All right, let's go to the next subject. Give y'all something else to talk about. Man, this has not been the news cycle for our senior citizens. Here we go. An 82-year-old woman who'd been pronounced dead at a nursing home in Long Island, New York, was found to be alive nearly 3 hours later when she was at the funeral home. Authorities said, spurring investigations by police and health officials. Check this out. Let me read this one more time. An 82-year-old woman who'd been pronounced dead at a nursing home in Long Island, New York, was found to be alive nearly 3 hours later at a funeral home, authorities said. The woman was pronounced dead Saturday at the, listen, for all my Long Island people that be chiming in, this woman was pronounced dead Saturday at the Waters Edge Rehab and Nursing Center in Port Jefferson at 11:15 a.m. Suffolk County Police said after being taken to O.B. Davis Funeral Home in nearby Miller's Place at 1:30. She was pronounced dead at 11:15 a.m. They called O.B. Davis Funeral Home, and at 1:30, she was transported. She was then found breathing at 2:09 p.m. The woman, whom authorities have not identified publicly, was taken to a hospital after she was found alive. CNN was unable to obtain an update on the woman's condition Monday, and the police did not provide further details. Suffolk County Police and the New York State Department of Health are investigating the case, they told CNN. The health department cannot comment further because the probe is still underway. The incident has been referred to the New York State Attorney General's. This is an awful situation that caused unnecessary trauma and impact to the resident and her loved one, the Attorney General's office said in an email statement. In a statement to CNN, the funeral home said, out of respect for the privacy and confidentiality of the families, we are not in a position to comment further. But a similar incident, what's going on, Sizemore? Man, look at the big homie done showed up. James said, glad she wasn't cremated. Ty Matthews, glad to see you on tonight. Yeah, look at my homie. Said, good gosh, that's crazy. Doctors or nurse can't tell somebody dead. But this is what gets me. It says a similar incident was reported in Iowa, where officials said a 66-year-old woman was found breathing inside of a body bag in December. Hold on, people. Listen here. If you're working at these facilities, nursing homes, assisted living, any of these agencies, first thing I want to know is, most of the time, they can't pronounce a person dead. They got to get a medical EMT. Somebody has to come there, a doctor, somebody else. It's not somebody's staff that's pronouncing somebody dead. So we got about 3-4 levels in this. The facility may have said that she was unresponsive, but they don't call somebody dead. That is a licensed medical professional, normally a doctor or coroner, if you will. Somebody else has to state that this person is dead. So for her to be pronounced dead at 11 a.m. and then be found breathing at 2 o'clock, can you all imagine what must have went through this woman's mind, even if she had a faint breath, to open her eyes and find herself on a slab at the mortuary, ready for business? And then, Essie Shepherd, what's going on? You know I'm glad to see you always. And then it's not enough for this to be a case, but they saying in December, a 66-year-old woman in Iowa was found breathing inside of a body bag. Oh, Essie, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. James said, usually a doctor or paramedic. Absolutely. So think about it, people. Are y'all that busy? Is business booming that much in the EMT realm that you can't take the time to hook a person up to some equipment to get a pulse, even if it's a faint pulse? What was y'all sitting around chit-chatting? Did y'all take somebody's word for it? You put this lady in a body bag, transported her. Y'all are absolutely tripping. Johnny said there's people cutting corners and taking someone's word for it without checking the vitals correctly. I would assume that it is no way they hooked her up to a machine. I'm just baffled by the fact that this woman done took the ride of death from the facility in the body bag, got there. She got there at 1:30. She was laying in there for 30 minutes until somebody realized this woman is alive. Now, Annie Moore said, wouldn't her body still be warm? Not necessarily. Let me tell y'all. Jane said, there's a doctor that's in trouble that signed off on this. Absolutely. Annie Moore, we're going to go back to your question. Wouldn't her body still be warm? The answer to that is not necessarily. I have actually worked in an assisted living facility in a different capacity, and I have seen that a person's vitals can drop, and when your vitals drop, depending on the temperature in the room or otherwise, a person's body can be cold if your vitals drop very, very low. And in fairness, not to this process, but in fairness, there are people whose vitals drop to a point where a human being might not be able to pick up a pulse or a heartbeat. But that equipment gonna pick up something if they were attached to some equipment. So at the end of the day, I'm just like, wow, I'm not rocking with this foolery right here. But we're going to keep an eye on this one as well, because apparently it's nothing new in America for folks to be pronounced dead that ain't dead. We're going to talk about something else right quick. All right. Somebody sent this in to me. They felt some kind of way about the Grammys. It said, here we go. Grammys versus God. The Grammys have been glorifying Satan. This isn't anything new. There's more examples, but this proves a point. It's blatant. The enemy is not ashamed to spread the gospel of what to do or say Christians by sharing the truth. As if people weren't mad enough at the results of the 2023 Grammys, now conservatives are fired up over two performers wearing devil costumes during the annual telecast. During the ceremony on Sunday, Sam Smith and Kim Petras, I don't know either one of them, but I did watch the video, offered a rousing performance of their hit single, Unholy, in which Petra performed alongside drag stars Violet, I can't even pronounce their name, and Gottmik, dressed in devil costumes, while Smith was in a bright red top hat with devil horns sticking out from it for the final chorus. Instead of celebrating the fact that the pair made history for the LGBTQ community that night, conservative viewers slammed the performance for promoting the worship of Satan. They quote, I know we're on the right, probably use the word satanic too often, but this performance from Sam Smith is literally a tribute to Satan, wrote one viewer. Eventually, right-wing Senator Ted Cruz decided to weigh in, retweeting a video of the performance captured by conservative podcaster Liz Wheeler, who wrote, demons are teaching your kids to worship Satan. Neither Smith nor Petras have publicly responded to the backlash. Billboard reached out to their reps for comment. The pair took home Grammy Awards for Best Pop Duo. All right. Ooh, now this right here. Let me say something to you all. Now, I watched the video. Somebody else had sent me a link that had Grammys from like the last probably 10 years. They had Beyonce. They had other folks doing in what most would consider to be satanic costumes or otherwise. We're gonna talk about this from the perspective of one, why y'all acting surprised? Why y'all acting surprised? If you listen to the lyrics of the songs, many of these songs that y'all around here bouncing and pop locking to, the words of them is talking like that. The issue that I have with this is the reason why it is still popular is because you guys keep purchasing the music of these artists. If you have a problem with Sam Smith or whatever his name is, the song is called Unholy. Beyonce had a song not long ago talking about church girls twerking or whatever. You all don't have to buy these. Beyonce right now is, my understanding, charging $1,000 a seat to go see her perform. You all give them money and you make it popular because you purchase their music. Clicks and likes. So I don't care anything about Sam and what his costume was. But I do agree fundamentally with the mindset of America has hit a point by which we have reversed everything. Here's why I say that. And you can say if you feel differently than me, it's okay. I understand we're not all going to be on the same page. You all were comfortable with America to some degree blackballing Kanye West because he talking about Jesus and writing spiritually uplifting songs. Shortly after he kept with that promotion of Jesus, they start calling him anti-Semitic. They start talking about anytime you do anything to promote something about Jesus, all of a sudden you the bad guy. But you can go out here, and I watched the video. It's people in the audience that had on little devil worshiping caps and stuff, dancing to the music. It was, y'all said it was hot. We think about this. And I've said this as a matter of record. I believe that everybody has a right to live their life the way that they want to, because your afterlife, your transition point, is based on what your connection is between you and God. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in, so I don't lose no sleep for nobody that's going to hell. Okay? Nikki Carter talking about who is y'all? People in America. Don't start all that foolishness. But let me tell y'all what I do have a problem with. And this is personal. This is my view. It's not everybody's view. So y'all could charge this to me. I have an issue with the fact that you all will condemn a person who doesn't believe in a certain lifestyle, while at the same time, you are force-feeding certain actions optically through social media, through TV and other areas that normalize behavior, and then you want to make someone feel bad because they are anti that. Most people are not homophobic. Most people simply disagree with a particular lifestyle. For those who agree with it, nobody is out here trying to shame you or to belittle you. For those of us who disagree with the lifestyle, we're simply saying, I should be able to turn on the TV. If I had a young child, my child should be able to turn on the TV and not see these things being promoted as normal behavior. If you were doing whatever you doing behind closed doors, nobody would have none of your business. But because you're force feeding it to everyone, irrespective of it, a parent can't sit back and monitor regular TV because you got it in cartoons, you got it in regular stuff. You can't turn on anything and it not, you got commercials where you're going to see gay male couples. You don't see too many gay female couples, but you see gay male couples normally, and I'm gonna tell you what I got a problem with. This is my own personal thing. They always got the brother up there being the woman in the relationship. I don't know why. He ain't never none of the brothers looking masculine or nothing like that. He always looked like he the woman in the relationship. That's for another day. But why must we turn on the TV and see these commercials normalizing it? Again, I believe everybody has a right to live their life the way that they want to and in peace. I do not believe that we have a right to become physically aggressive, verbally aggressive. I believe that if you choose to go in a particular direction, that's between you and God, but don't force feed it to everybody else. Don't make a mother who's trying to raise her child with spiritual values feel like she can't turn on the TV because while she's trying to cook dinner or while she's trying to help one child with homework, then you're going to have SpongeBob pop up with Buddy Bob, or you got to have commercials. You 1 minute you watching a Got Milk commercial, the next minute you got two dudes kissing. You shouldn't be able to force feed that into somebody's home. Just like if you all don't like what's being shown at the Grammys and you have sent me things showing me that year after year after year, this is what the Grammys is doing, stop watching it. If I don't like what you do, I don't have to patronize your business. And if I stop spending money, you're going to get the message and have to make a choice. Do I want to go bankrupt or do I want to keep promoting this? The problem is that we laughing, we high-fiving, we watching it, whether you're watching because of the spectacle of it or whether or not you're watching because it's just what you about. The Nielsen ratings can't tell the difference between you watching because you're sickened of it and you want to protest, or you watching because you're in support. All they do is they can tell who's watching. Brother Sizemore said it seems like they're pushing of the lifestyle and people who aren't in tune with that are looked as being abnormal. It's flipping of values. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I've been talking about. Again, I don't support any heterosexual person, any Christian person being violent, aggressive, or bullying or abusing somebody who chooses a different lifestyle. I don't believe that's what God teaches us. I don't have to be accepting or condoning of it, but I don't have the right to abuse you and berate you. But you don't have the right, America, to force feed the normalization of something that I disagree with. I remember the time when you weren't going to see heterosexual couples kissing and being intimate on TV. It just didn't happen. Now everything goes because the moral compass of America has switched gears. So I'm saying this to you all out there listening land. If you got a problem with somebody devil worshiping on stage, if that's what you feel like it is, stop watching. When the ratings drop, then they're going to realize people aren't with that. Y'all thought it was cute when Lil Nas X came out with some devil blood in his tennis shoes and looking an absolute fool. You still letting your kids play it. You still buying his music. So no wonder he believes that it's acceptable behavior. Brother Sizemore say HBO After Dark is all day now. You better believe it. So I'm saying these things to you to make sure that you get the information and the message. If I don't like something, I ain't going to participate in it. If I'm participating in it, then that means I'm supporting it. Anymore said they need to go back to Little House on the Prairie days, safe TV. Absolutely. But the more that we push the needle, the more people begin to say, what else is acceptable? Now everything is acceptable. And that's why there is no line. All the lines have been erased. But you can get those lines back by not buying the music, not watching it, not clicking on it on social media. Every time you give likes or make a comment, if you make a comment to it, that's still clicked on and they still get a number for it. Look, people, let me see. I had one other thing I wanted to talk about too. I know we ain't got much time. I want to talk about this one. Let's talk about this right quick. There is a Nash County grandmother charged tonight with murder and beating death of her 8-year-old granddaughter. Nash County, North Carolina, the Nash County Sheriff Office has arrested a grandmother and charged her with murder and beating to death her 8-year-old granddaughter. Deputies said that shortly after 4 p.m. Tuesday, they were notified that a juvenile was taken to the emergency room at Nash UNC Healthcare with severe injuries and was dead upon arrival. Deputies and detectives responded to the hospital to investigate and determine that the child was living in the 5,000 block of Dutchman Road in Nashville. Detectives responded and said that the 8-year-old was beaten so severely by her grandmother she died from the injuries. Investigators charged 72-year-old Patricia Ricks with first-degree murder and felony child abuse. She was placed in Nash County Detention Center under no bond. Investigators say the child had severe injuries throughout her entire body and head. The child lived with her grandmother and several other siblings. The grandmother was the legal guardian of the children. Let me start by saying this. Y'all gonna have to rock with me for a few extra minutes on this one. First of all, the grandmother should get whatever's coming to her. But I need you guys to process this. Somebody, how did the grandmother become the legal guardian of that child and others? I am emotionally convinced she didn't just wake up on Tuesday and turn into an abuser or a killer. See, if you out here having these babies, stop giving them to your grandma to take care of them. Stop giving them to your mama's mama to take care of them. This woman, Tuesday, beat this baby so severely, beat this 8-year-old so severely that she had injuries all over her body and died from them. Something ought to tell us. There are signs, warning signs. I'm going to look into this case more specifically myself because I want to get to the bottom of how did grandma wind up being the custodian at 72 years old? How did grandma become the custodian of this child and others? That's the thing. Making up no excuses for this lady, because whatever happens to her, she deserves it. But I do want to know, it says the child lived with her grandmother and several other siblings living with the grandmother. She was the legal guardian of the children. That thing right there. So we gonna follow this one. Look, people, I got to get up off here because y'all done already said that I look tired. James, the system has failed. You're absolutely right. The system has failed. Not only did the system fail, but we in Black America have failed. We're failing because if you're out here having these kids, taking them to your grandma, taking them to your mama, who is in her 70s and 80s, they don't have, first of all, they do not have the energy. They do not have the mental balance to be listening to kids and them running around all day, every day. That gets mentally, first of all, we can't hardly deal with it. Nigga said, good night, get some rest. Thank you for that. Brother Sides must say, I see plenty of grannies at the parent-teacher conference. You better believe it. There's a problem with this. But look, people, I got to go. It's 9:03. We're going to talk next week. Look, y'all pray for somebody. Y'all call somebody. Y'all check on somebody. Hey, times is difficult out here in these streets. Make sure you be a blessing to somebody, because you either going to be, as Chad Ochocinco said when he was on a podcast the other day, you either a blessing or a lesson. And I'm out. It's about that time, baby.